Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, striking up the live stream at 10:45 Eastern time on a Wednesday night. Did I plan to do this? No, but I just can't help but get myself on here to talk some college football with you live. Just got off the line with Mike McDaniel from College Football Saturday and also Ryan Cantor from Shaking the Southland, Clemson's platform on SB Nation. We ran down the top 5 running backs in the ACC, and you can catch that video. It's already posted to my YouTube channel. So if you're coming across Mark Rogers TV for the very first time, we talk college football nonstop, and we do it the right way, the very best way, the best discussion, debate, and analysis in college football. All right, so this is what we've got planned for tonight. And, of course, it doesn't matter what I've got planned. It doesn't matter what I bring up. If you bring it up on the live chat, I will address it. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. All right, recent posts include what I just mentioned, top 5 running backs in the ACC. Let's see, what else have we done recently? I can't even remember. I will tell you what's coming up in the future. Tomorrow night, we have Jake Wimberly. We had him on a few weeks ago, and unfortunately, it was the strangest thing. The video just disappeared. I had him on for a live stream, and it was just gone. So we will not make that mistake again, whatever the mistake was, because in 7,000 videos, that has never happened to me before. But Jake provides some great analysis. He and his platform there, they have basically built a system in which they predict college football games, and they claim to be very accurate. And Jake and I had a great discussion for 30 minutes that's lost, and so we'll try to recreate that for you tomorrow night, Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern time. That's what I should do before I strike up these live streams, is I should actually put down the dates and times so I can remember them, because otherwise I can't. Jake Wimberly, 8:30 Eastern time on Thursday night. At 9 o'clock, we come back with a live stream running down the top 5 quarterbacks and running backs in the SEC with Stephen Smith from Touchdown Alabama and Mike LaValle from Last Word on College Football. Top 5 in the SEC at quarterback and running back, 9 o'clock tomorrow night, Thursday night Eastern time, right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Then we are excited to have a big UCLA forum. Got Mike Regalado from Gojo Bruin, Tony Siracusa from Last Word on College Football, Danielle Alveri, she's from Bruins Online. I'm going to bring them on, and I may not say a word after introducing the show. I'm just going to kick back and let them talk UCLA football. Offense, defense, special teams, vibe around the program, Chip Kelly's approach, what they expect this year, the schedule, whatever they want to talk about concerning UCLA football. I place the channel in their hands. UCLA football talk, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock on the West Coast, Mark Rogers TV on Thursday night. On Friday, I am so much looking forward to the conversation with Mitch Light. He is the managing editor at Athlon Sports, college football, and also the co-host of Cover 2 podcast. Mitch Light, we'll have him on. That's Friday at 12:30 Eastern time, right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Don't forget that if you bring subscribers to Mark Rogers TV between now and July 15th, and we would hope that if you enjoy the content here in the discussion, the debate and analysis, that you would go out there and bring in your family and friends all the time, regardless of whether there's any swag on the line. But over the next 3 weeks, you've got some prizes to win, or a prize to win for the best person in regards to bringing subscribers to Mark Rogers TV. And since this is a prize that has so generously been offered by Alonzo1219, you have to be a subscriber of Alonzo1219. So for those of you Miami fans who subscribe to Alonzo1219, if you bring me the most subscribers between now and July 15th, you will win some Miami swag or the swag of your choice. If you don't follow Alonzo1219 and subscribe to his YouTube channel, please do. Check out his discussion on Miami. He has really stepped up his game in recent weeks, talking about Miami's recruiting efforts most recently. And we have Alonzo on here from time to time and support him fully. And he has been kind enough and generous enough to offer some swag of your choice for you and your favorite college football team. So if you're subscribed to Alonzo1219 and bring the most subscribers to Mark Rogers TV before July 15th, then you win some nice swag. And I have promised to cut a video to display the type of swag that I'm talking about. But you can look up Alonzo1219 on YouTube and check out the video that he posted and has a number of times showing the bling. So that can be a hat, a t-shirt, or the bling, the actual Canes turnover chain that you can win, or something like it. If you love Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Notre Dame, whomever, it doesn't matter because he will deliver your college football swag needs. So bring subscribers to Mark Rogers TV. I would like you to do that anyway, of course, because we deliver the best content in college football. All right. Over the last couple of nights, and certainly the last live stream that we posted, when was that? Was that last night? We talked top 5 at several positions in college football, top 5 in various conferences, or the top 10 in the nation. So I will invite you on the chat to continue that discussion. So whoever you believe is the top 5 at any position in any conference, or the top 10 in the nation at any position, just throw it on the chat and I will respond to it. Ryan in particular was delivering last night, and somebody else, I can't remember. I would have to go back to see who was just bringing the A game. I believe it was Bosch Gaming was bringing his opinion to the post with top 5 and top 10 lists. But I am going to check out the live chat, respond to anything that you have thus far, and then I'm going to dive into the most exciting player for each top 25 team. It's a post by, I believe, ESPN.com. Yes, I think you've heard of them. And it's on the front page of their college football section today. The most exciting player for each top 25 team. First, though, I'm going to strike up the live chat and see what's on your mind. Johnny Bays is late. Shame, shame. Well, I didn't warn you guys. I had no notifications going out. I wasn't going to do anything else because I really should be continuing to research and prepare and post other videos. I've got all sorts of notes all over the place, and I'm just about ready to cut my top 10 quarterbacks and my top 10 non-conference games. I just need to go ahead and do that. I also have looked over the LSU quarterback battle and want to post a video on that as well. But I couldn't help myself. Striking up the live stream. DeAndre's on the line. What is good with you, man? Good to see you. Panther Pro 22 on the line, as well as NCIS Fanatic 21 and many more. What's going on, y'all? Love the vids, Mark. Thank ya. Mr. 12. This is the first time I have seen. I hope I'm getting that right. Or is that, yeah, Mr. 12. I have not seen Mr. 12 before. So I welcome you to Mark Rogers TV. Would love to know how long you've been watching. I would actually like to know from anybody who is on the chat right now how long you have been watching Mark Rogers TV. I would be interested. How do I like Duke in the ACC? Well, considering they're playing in the Coastal Division, Miami is one of the 10 or 15 best teams in the country, and Virginia Tech is in the 30-35 range. I think Duke could pull off something similar to what they did a few years ago in getting to the ACC championship game. Yes, it's a bit of a long shot, but that's the best division in college football, excluding the Pac-12 South, to get that accomplished. I like Daniel Jones at quarterback. If you check out the video I just posted about an hour ago, top 5 ACC running backs, I really like Britain Brown as well, coming off a 700-yard season in which he ran for over 5 yards per carry. Duke has recruited Dondre, as you well know, better over the last 2 to 3 seasons, recruiting cycles under David Cutcliffe than they have forever. So Duke has a real shot to do something in the ACC. I don't remember off the top of my head who they have to play in the Atlantic Division, and that's key. I think YouTube is trying to censor somebody. UCLA sucks. Well, they generally did Dondre last year. And under Jim Mora, it was a roller coaster ride. But under Chip Kelly, we expect better. And I believe UCLA is still an intriguing, fascinating program. And we'll talk about them Thursday night, UCLA night at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Watch it just to watch the banter between Mike, Danielle, and Tony. Don't watch it because you love UCLA football. But if you love college football, join the chat, join the discussion. I'll be bringing my comments and questions, but I'll be monitoring the chat, and we'll just have a big time talking UCLA football. And I will do more of these in the future if I can get together at least 2, if not 3, representatives for any given team. Maybe we'll have a big Miami night. I'll get Cam, I'll get a few others, and they can talk Miami football, and we'll probably be here for 5 hours talking up the Canes, and I know that you guys would love that. Martin is also still in World Cup mode, and happy about that. Dondre likes Duke to win the Coastal Division in the ACC. Cashboy D giving that a bit of a chuckle. Yes, they've won it in the past. That was the year that Jameis Winston took FSU to the national championship and just pasted Duke in the ACC final. I remember scores. I think it was 45-7, maybe 45-10. Duke will be good, but they won't win the Coastal. Dondre has taken us in a direction I did not anticipate. And look at this synergy, Dondre. Look at my shirt. Look at the colors. Close to Duke, very close to Duke. I must have just felt it. Subconsciously, I just felt the vibe from Dondre that he was going to take off on Duke. And this has become the chat. Duke football. 7-6 last year. Pasted Northwestern early in the season at home. Just ran roughshod over Pat Fitz and the Wildcats. Had their ups and downs. Played Miami well for about 3 quarters. Then let it slip away in the 4th. And they won the bowl game over Northern Illinois at the Quick Lane Bowl. Really blew them out, outclassed a MAC school there. Sadly, very sad for me, NCIS Fanatic 21, that not many of your friends and family have YouTube accounts. It's sad. All right, Dondre clearing up divisional play there. We need to know, people, who plays in what divisions. That's key to making these kind of arguments. You need to know who plays in what divisions. Nick Bosa is the best defensive lineman in the country, no doubt about it. Johnny Bass is late. We mentioned that off the top. You got to hang with me sometimes because it's hard to monitor the chat, because then if I try to move up or down the feed, sometimes it takes off on me. Dennis possibly making fun of my comment that Miami is one of the 10 to 15 best teams in the country. I'm thinking Dennis thinks that should be a little bit higher. I don't believe so. Panther Pro 22 found the channel a couple of months ago. Wish I had found it earlier. Yes, we appreciate you, Panther Pro, finding us, giving us the support. There's George. I'm pretty sure that's Gator Blue. It looks a little dark for Gator Blue. I'm thinking Duke, Kentucky. Dondre, Duke Coastal. Man, look at all the Duke love here. Duke has beat Miami in the past. Yes, they have. And if we really want to get Cam Underwood fired up, we get him on here and bring up the Miami game against Duke a couple of years ago, in which Miami basically had some help from the officials. Duke should have stopped the play, but do you remember the crazy play at the end of regulation in which Miami looked like they were going to lose for sure, and they pulled off the 7 or 8 laterals on the kickoff and ran it all the way back? And that was the only game prior to last season that Malik Rozier had ever started at Miami, with Brad Kaya hurt. And they went to Malik Rozier. He played a good game. They scored 30 points. Of course, the last touchdown was on the crazy kickoff play. And we had never seen Malik Rozier until last season. And so we were just going off the Miami game, or off the Duke game that he had played pretty well in 2016. All right. Nothing else on the chat. I'm going to go to the most exciting player for each top 25 team. And I want you guys to keep in mind again that I will be taking more comments on your top 5 at any position, any conference in the Power 5 or the Group of 5, any top 10 at any position in the country. Yeah, NCIS Fanatic 21. Yes, we could definitely strike up an Ohio State chat with Steve Hellwagon, Tony Gerdeman, Claire Crawford. We would have a big time. I will look to do that. There are many teams that I have more than one contributor and could get them on, and we could just have a blowout for a couple hours on one particular school and have a big time. All right, let's try to find this thing. Most exciting player for each team in the top 25. So exciting to you, exciting to me, and most college football fans, I would think, would be the guy that can change a game. And that guy is most likely very fast. When you think exciting and you think sports, it's typically who's fast. In baseball, it's different. It's typically who can hit the longest home runs. In basketball, yeah, that guy's typically a guy that can handle the ball like Steph Curry, or shoot it like him, or go to the rim and finish in a powerful way with explosion. In football, I think speed. When I think excitement, I think return plays and special teams. I think long plays in the passing game from the quarterback to the wide receiver. But I also like guys that are not in those traditional exciting positions, skill positions, that can make game-changing plays and create excitement. I think a sack, a strip sack and fumble, especially when it leads directly to points on that play, is picked up and run for a touchdown. That is one of the most exciting plays in college football, in football, period. And the pick six is exciting. Deflected passes are exciting, aren't they? Don't you like to see a good deflected pass, especially if you're watching a game and you've got no investment in the game, win or lose, you're just watching football. And a good tip drill in the secondary and picked off and run back, that's fun to see. Again, I love the strip sack for a touchdown. I like the return games, a good punt return, kickoff return for a touchdown. I love blocked field goals, blocked PATs, run back for touchdowns. Those are exciting. Think Georgia Tech against Florida State a few years ago. Penn State against Ohio State, of course, in 2016, that swung the division. Those are exciting plays. For the number 1 team in the nation, the Alabama Crimson Tide, according to ESPN, most exciting player for Nick Saban and the Tide is Tua Tagovailoa. For number 2, Clemson, it's defensive end Christian Wilkins. So I like that they're thinking a bit outside the box and not just automatically giving it to the quarterback, wide receiver, or running back. So for Clemson, I would think Tavian Feaster or Travis Etienne, or maybe T. Higgins, ready to explode and break onto the scene. But they go with Christian Wilkins. So I like this play by ESPN. That is going to be my last comment about ESPN editorially, for good reason. Ohio State at number 3, J.K. Dobbins. Number 4, Georgia. Want to take a guess? If you're not playing along at home and looking at ESPN.com, DeAndre Swift, running back, Georgia, number 4. For the fifth-rated Oklahoma Sooners, you got Kyler Murray at quarterback, most athletic player that Billy Beane has ever drafted, according to him. For the number 6 Washington Huskies, you've got running back Myles Gaskin. Number 7 Wisconsin, who do you think? Jonathan Taylor. Miami at number 8. Canes fans, I know you're out there. Who do you think is the most exciting player for Miami? Travis Homer, Amon Richards, Jeff Thomas. Those are the first 3 names that come to mind for me. They're going Jaquan Johnson, the safety. Michigan State at number 9, wide receiver Felton Davis. Made some really outstanding plays, won some big ball games for them, especially against Penn State. Number 10, Michigan linebacker Khaleke Hudson. All right, there's the top 10. The most exciting player for all the top 10 teams in the country. I'm going to check the chat, and then I will finish out the top 25. See what you guys have here. Martin's going with Lorenzo Lingard. Martin, if you've not taken the chance and not had the time to check out the video that I just posted about 90 minutes ago, the top 5 running backs in the ACC, you will be very pleased with Mark Rogers TV. NCIS Fanatic 21, how do you like J.K. Dobbins' chances to win the Heisman? I like them a lot, except for stats mean quite a bit, not everything in Heisman balloting. It's basically, how good is the team? Are they contending for a national championship? If not, then the numbers have to be glittery. They just have to be golden, sterling. They have to be outstanding. They have to be off the charts if your team's not contending for a national championship. At Ohio State, we're expecting the Buckeyes to contend for the Big Ten and therefore the national championship. So the stats have to be really, really good. But J.K. Dobbins is going to have some of his playing time compromised by Mike Weber. If they can get J.K. Dobbins involved in the return game, and that brings me to kind of the third element of Heisman voting. You've got team success. You have number 2, statistics. Then number 3, you have plays that people remember. You have to have those 1, 2, or 3 plays that people remember as being great plays that changed games, were exciting, and turned the tide in the college football universe for that particular season. Think Charles Woodson in 1997. Nobody can remember Charles Woodson's statistics. He mainly played defense, but he had the one-handed interception against Michigan State that was astounding, kept his feet in bounds, made the one-handed grab for the pick. He had the 2 plays against Ohio State that were huge. He had the interception in the end zone that stopped a Buckeyes drive in a game that Michigan had to win to get to the Rose Bowl and win the Big Ten championship. Even though they were undefeated, Ohio State could have tied for the title and gone to Pasadena on the head-to-head win. And Ohio State came back from 20-0 down to make it 20-14. But Charles Woodson, the play of the season in terms of his Heisman candidacy, was the punt return for a touchdown, and that sealed it for him. Mr. 12 says JK's year is next year. Most likely you are right. And as I started to talk about, Mike Weber will steal carries as a near 1,000-yard rusher from J.K. Dobbins. Think J.K. Dobbins, 1,300 or 1,400 yards this year. Mike Weber, 700, 800. Doesn't take away from his explosiveness, not at all. Waddle haven't even stepped on the field. Exciting Bama players include Judy, Smith, Devonta Smith, of course, who won the national championship game with his catch in overtime. Ruggs and Waddle. Those are all wide receivers. So Bama fans, college football fans, if you have yet to check the video out that I cut with Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama on Alabama wide receivers, please check that out. Stephen and I have covered the Alabama offensive line, defensive line, wide receivers, and secondary in covering the Tide in recent weeks. Okay, Greg Dortch for Wake Forest. Good call, Ryan. Brian Hightower for Miami. Interesting. Of course, he had the huge spring game. Lorenzo Lingard again. A big clean hit without a flag. I'm sorry, I'm reading these in reverse order. I shouldn't do that. Nicole Hardman and Rodrigo Blankenship for Georgia. Rodrigo Blankenship, Ryan, a kicker. These Michigan have the hardest schedule in college football. So, Dondre, you're either telling me that Michigan does have the toughest schedule in college football or asking me, and I don't know off the top of my head. That's spoiler alert. My schedule rankings will be coming out in the next month or two. Schedule rankings, and I'm sure Michigan will be awfully high. Nothing like a huge hit. Yes, Mr. 12. And of course, safety in football in general and in college football in particular has robbed us, and I am all for player safety, but has robbed us of some exciting plays in the secondary. It kind of takes away from it when we see the big hit, but then we see that somebody got hurt, or even if somebody just gets flagged and tossed out of the game. I believe that there should be a warning, and then the kid gets tossed, not miss the rest of the half plus the first half of the next week's game or the second half of the game. I'm not going to have any favorite players until we play the season. George taking a stand. He wants to be proven. It has to be proven to George who can step up and make plays this year. Lingard going to be a third string back. Cash Boy D. Well, based on what I saw out of DJ Dallas in the Orange Bowl, you might be right. Mark, can you explain your pick of Lorenzo Lingard in the top 5 ACC running backs? I didn't understand your reasoning. Okay, basically, here's my reasoning. We don't know what Lorenzo Lingard is capable of doing in college football. We don't know what anyone who has yet to step on the field is capable of doing. We can, to a certain extent, trust the scouting, and we can trust the scouts, the coaches that have evaluated these players, and the recruiting rankings to a certain extent. Of course, most of the time, the best players in the recruiting rankings turn out to be the best players in college football. We also know, do this exercise, go out and look at every position in college football in every conference and rank the top 5 players at every position in every conference. Of course, I don't expect you to do that, but you can be guaranteed that 10 to 15 to as many as 20% of those players were freshmen from 2017. That means the same thing is going to happen in 2018. So, yes, I know how good Cam Akers is, and A.J. Dillon, and the 2 backs at Clemson, and a number of other guys, even down to like a Jordan Ellis, who is the 10th or 12th best running back in the ACC, but is going to get his carries and probably gain to close to 1,000 yards for Virginia. Take a player like that. Jordan Ellis gained 3.9 yards per carry last year, is not an overly explosive or talented back for Virginia. He's a decent back. He's a workmanlike back. He's going to get the carries and produce yardage. So Lorenzo Lingard has not done anything. So you could say that Jordan Ellis should be ranked ahead of Lorenzo Lingard, and that argument would make total sense. I'm saying that we know that there will be freshmen this year, many freshmen who will rank in the top 5 at their positions by the end of this season. And that's what I'm trying to do, is project. So I am taking Miami's approach that Travis Homer, I don't think, is going to just lock down the job like Cam Akers will. And we know that the way these teams divide carries and reps nowadays, that multiple backs on just about every team in the nation will get tons of carries. Therefore, I believe Lorenzo Lingard may not have the stats. Again, I stated at the beginning of the video that I was not choosing the 5 players that I thought would have the 5 best statistical years in the ACC at running back, but just who would show to be the 5 best players. I'm trying not to take into consideration the quality of the offensive line or the play calling or the opportunities. Just if Lorenzo Lingard gets, let's say they play the 12 games during the regular season, and Miami ends up playing 14 games, as most people expect, ACC championship game and a bowl game. They play 14 games. Let's say he averages 6 to 8 carries per game. So that is only about 70 to 80 to 90 carries, but he averages 5.5 yards a carry and scores 4, 5, 6 touchdowns. I'm going to think, even though he has not ranked in the top 5 in the ACC in rushing, he showed us that he is probably one of the top 5 running backs in the league. Just DJ Dallas and Travis Homer got most of the carries. Follow me, Ryan? That's what I'm going with there. Phyllis, you can lose to Troy. Miami can definitely lose to Duke. Good point, George. Welcome to the channel. I'm Mr. 12. I'm glad I'm not the only OSU fan in the chat now. You are the one and only, huh? So you got some help with Mr. 12. All right, Cashboy D, I really like our wide receivers. They could potentially be the best in the nation in 19, considering most are true freshmen and sophomores, and I think Surtain will be either the second or third cornerback. So Panther Pro 22 is a Bama fan. FSU picked up a big commitment from Rambo Hunter today. And if anyone wants to fill us in on Rambo Hunter and know anything about him, certainly do so. Running backs aren't generally busts in college or the NFL like quarterbacks. If you can run at one level, you can run at the next. Prince 6'1" backing me up. Dennis, Miami picked up a big 3-star recruit on the D-line and backer in Manny Diaz's defense. I think Brian Robinson should get the ball more, and Jacob. So Cashboy D, definitely our man. Stephen M. Smith with Touchdown Alabama has been on many times to tout Mr. Brian Robinson. He loves him and would love to see Robinson and Jacobs get the ball more. But you got Najee Harris and you've got Damian Harris. So you got 4 running backs in play. It's going to be difficult to get all of them many meaningful touches. Got to be at least a 4-star recruit to be a big recruit. Derek Rambo Hunter, 4-star defensive end. How does LSU match up with Miami in the Kickoff Classic? LSU, Miami. All right, this is going to be a quick snapshot. Of course, later in the summer, we will break it down and already have really from both sides, the LSU and the Miami side. So Clavon Bostic, go back and check out the videos, but I'll give you a brush stroke on this one. Miami, LSU. All right. You've got Joe Burrow most likely winning the LSU quarterback job. He's very talented, and I don't believe he's overrated, but he is inexperienced. We could see Joe Burrow's best play 4 or 5 games into the season, but not necessarily against what is going to be one of the 10 best defenses in the country. So that's a huge issue for LSU, getting an inexperienced quarterback who's not thrown a meaningful pass against a defense in collegiate play, except for the Ohio State defense in practice, which is pretty darn good, but not under fire. Get him ready for Miami. That's the big concern for me. I also believe that the running game is predicated by the offensive line first and foremost, and LSU is solid and really good up front. Maybe not great up front, but their offensive line is going to be very good. The back situation, so I put more on the offensive line for running the football than the backs, but still a special back will get you a 3rd and 2 conversion or will bust one for 50 when it matters most, when a decent back will only get you 12 or 15 yards when they get through the hole. The great back will get you 50. No Leonard Fournette, Jeremy Hill, Darius Geis kind of back for LSU. Big problem there. They lose their best receiver in DJ Chark, even though they look to be decent at wide receiver. The LSU defense is really good, really talented, but extremely thin, especially at defensive back. Miami, even in some of the games that they've struggled to be efficient passing the ball, have hit for the big play. Jeff Thomas, Amon Richards should be healthy and back and ready to go. Seem to be a bit much running down the field against the LSU secondary time and time and time again. I give a substantial advantage in this game to Miami. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Miami makes too many mistakes throwing the ball, of course, with Malik Rozier, and LSU is too talented, especially on defense, to let it get out of hand. But right now, I like Miami in the 7 to 10 point range. I thought Fournette would start this year for LSU. Classic Mark Rogers, Lorenzo Lingard out of left field. Yeah, I'm just coming out of left field with this stuff, Coconut. Stingley is the #1 cornerback, number 15 overall, and number 2 out of the state. I think Jacobs should be used as a 3rd down back, just like Mark said. It would be pretty hard to get Robinson a lot of playing time, but I've really been impressed with his play in blowouts. Substantial. I'm going to rephrase substantial. I'll say decided. It's not razor close thin, and it's not substantial. When I think substantial, I think, okay, I'm going to pick Miami to win this game 34-14. I'm thinking they are a decided better team. They are more experienced at quarterback. Although Joe Burrow could turn out to be much better than Malik Rozier, at least he's a known factor, Rozier. He's a known factor to be a spotty, sketchy starting quarterback, but a guy that can run, make plays, and has a strong enough arm that he can hit guys. His arm is strong enough. He's just scattershot and makes some poor decisions. But mostly it's not even poor decisions. It's just inaccuracy downfield throwing the ball. And not even downfield sometimes. It's just a dump off to a running back or a quick slant that he doesn't hit at times. So Joe Burrow could come out in game one and be a better player than Malik Rozier. All I'm saying is that we know Rozier as a known factor. Burrow's an X factor, and that's if he wins the job over Miles Brennan. Before Burrow transferred, we assumed that Miles Brennan would win the job. Coconut holding me to my word of substantial. Joe Burrow better than Malik Rozier, and he probably will be. If somebody held a gun to my head and said, who's going to have a better collegiate career, who's going to play better this season even, I would say Joe Burrow over Malik Rozier. But I would not be surprised that I could guess Malik Rozier's statistics today and be closer to the end result than I would with Joe Burrow. It's more of an X factor, more of a wild card. Miami won't score more than 10 points. Donovan, I see the LSU, and I see it each and every time you join the chat, and I'm very appreciative of that, but I see the LSU logo on your avatar each and every time, so I've got to take that with a grain or a mountain of salt. What if Joe Burrow, who never started at Ohio State, tears up the SEC West? Well, what if he does? All right. Malik Rozier is hot garbage. 34-14. Okay. Prince 6'1". I agree. Miami wins over LSU. Don't think that they're playing LSG. I think it's LSU. I think they win by 10 to 14 points. LSU had the least returning production in the SEC, and the underclassmen recruiting classes were not that special. Not special, still very talented. Between 8 and 15 in the country. Still very, very good in the Miami range. All right. Let's look at more exciting players. So we ran down the top 10. Again, that was Khaleke Hudson, linebacker from Michigan, the 10th ranked team in the country. Number 9, Michigan State, going with wide receiver Felton Davis. This is according to ESPN.com, their most exciting player for each top 25 team. Number 8, Miami, safety Jaquan Johnson. Wisconsin, running back Jonathan Taylor. There's the mail-in pick. Running back Myles Gaskin for Washington, their 6th rated team. At number 5, Oklahoma quarterback Kyler Murray. At number 4, Georgia running back DeAndre Swift. Number 3, Ohio State running back J.K. Dobbins. At number 2, you've got Clemson defensive end and a pick I really like in Christian Wilkins out of the box. And Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa as the most exciting player for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's look at 11 through 25. Number 11 team in the country is West Virginia, the 11th best team in the country. Running back Alec Sinkfield. I'm not real familiar with him. Number 12, Notre Dame running back Dexter Williams. Yes, he broke some big plays last year. Number 13 is Penn State, and their most exciting player is quarterback Trace McSorley. All right, all together now. Number 14 team in the nation, according to ESPN, is Stanford, and their most exciting player is... All right. Number 15, Virginia Tech, and quarterback Josh Jackson. All right, we're staying with the quarterbacks. Mississippi State quarterback Nick Fitzgerald. Will be good to see him back on the field after that horrific ankle injury in the Egg Bowl. Number 17 is USC and running back Stephen Carr. Mackenzie Milton. Love this guy. This kid just plays quarterback with reckless abandon, but it's reckless abandon when it's needed. He still takes care of the football, and he is UCF's most exciting player at number 18. The 19th rated Auburn Tigers wide receiver, Devin Barrett. Number 20, TCU wide receiver, Cavante Turpin. We talked about him the other day with our TCU guy. Billy Wessels from Rivals joined us on Monday. So if you want to get caught up on TCU, he had a great breakdown and talked about TCU's grudge against Ohio State for what happened in 2014 with the college football playoff. Number 21, Boise State defensive end Curtis Weaver. Number 22 is Texas and wide receiver Lil Jordan Humphrey. Number 23, the Aggies of Texas A&M and running back Travion Williams. I would definitely back that selection up. Justin Herbert of Oregon at 24, and the 25th ranked South Carolina Gamecocks and wide receiver Deebo Samuel. So Samuel's an easy pick. Herbert's an easy pick. Travion Williams with Texas A&M, an easy pick. Texas, you could choose from a number of players. They're going with little Jordan Humphrey. Boise State, you could go with a number of guys. They're going with Curtis Weaver, who had, I believe, like 13 sacks last year. Cavante Turpin's an obvious pick for TCU. He's one of the fastest, most elusive guys in the country. Devin Barrett of Auburn at wide receiver. They could go a number of directions there. Mackenzie Milton's an easy pick. Stephen Carr's the obvious guy for USC. Nick Fitzgerald, Josh Jackson, Bryce Love, obviously. Trace McSorley, yeah, you go with a running quarterback who runs around and makes plays and is a bit of a gunslinger as most exciting. Dexter Williams, an obvious pick for Notre Dame. Alex Singfield, again, not familiar with the West Virginia personnel as much as I should be, and I'll check out the Mountaineers. And we checked out the top 10 previously with Hudson, Davis, Johnson, Taylor, Gaskin, Murray, Swift, Dobbins, Wilkins, and Tagovailoa. And the only reason I'll be leaving the chat here soon is so I can work on the top 10 non-conference games for 2018. Jake Fromm leads the SEC in interceptions with 18. Considering, Dennis, their schedule, I think this might just be you trying to get back at Georgia because of the whole Mark Richt thing, maybe? All right. I see you've been watching my vids. Who's been watching whose vids? Anyway, screenshot it and write it down. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but continue the chatter. It's good stuff. So, again, Thursday night here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We've got an 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time conversation with Jake Wimberly. He's got a whole structure in place that he has built, a metric that is 80% accurate against the spread. He tells us, I think it's 80% straight up, 70% against the spread. We'll find out tomorrow night in predicting college football games and predicting the over-unders for the season. So we'll knock this out with Jake. And I got to tell you, again, as I mentioned off the top, that this was a great, interesting conversation, the kind of conversation that I could have all night talking about win projections and odds of games in college football, but that one got wiped out. We'll do it all over again with Jake at 8:30 tomorrow night. At 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we've got SEC top 5 quarterbacks and running backs with Mike LaValle from Last Word on College Football and Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. At 10 o'clock Eastern Time, I know I don't have many UCLA fans out there, but if you love college football, join the chat. Send us your comments and your questions. Talk up college football. If you get bored with the chat, if you get bored with the discussion, I should say, then you guys entertain yourselves on the chat anyway. But I've got Daniel Alvari, Tony Siracusa, and Mike Regalado talking to UCLA football, and it gives me the idea. I don't know why I had it with UCLA the other day that I thought, okay, I want to bring all those guys together. Maybe I saw tweets at the same time, or they all contacted me at the same time, or there was something working there when I was like, I should bring all them together and we could just talk up UCLA football. Just wring it dry for however long they want to go. And maybe I should do the same now with a number of programs. Ohio State should be easy to round up 2 or 3 contributors. Miami, Alabama, we could do as well. Tennessee, we could do as well. Would be fun. And we'll look to do that. So coming up this weekend on Mark Rogers TV, what I just outlined for Thursday night, Mitch Light from Athlon Sports and Cover 2 podcast on Friday. Maybe Uncle Lou will stop by. We shall see. And I will probably not have as many guests on this summer. We shall see, depending on what the subjects are, but I'm going to be focusing on my rankings and ratings of schedules and teams and players for you, the college football nut. All right. I appreciate you guys subscribing, liking, commenting. Please continue to do so. It just helps the YouTube analytics and gets the search engine driving and revving up and going crazy and helps us out considerably. So whatever you can do, again, in terms of getting your friends, your family to subscribe, the likes, the comments, help me out and get us to where we need to go. We will catch everyone tomorrow for, again, live streams at 8:30 Eastern Time, 9 and 10 o'clock Eastern Time, right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We will see you then.